Greetings from the past within the time travels, and welcome back to another episode of The Ladder. My name is Ty, and we left off talking with Marianne and Hannah. The other way around.
You go and do whatever it is that you have to do.
When she goes without even asking if I need her here, I'm left staying to stare at the walls. Really, I don't need to do a thorough inspection of the building itself. It isn't really part of an interior designer's job. Go away, you thing you. But the architect in me is committed to doing this task with every project. If I'm going to make a living space that have both form and function, I might as well make sure that the entirety of it is safe for my clients. Since I'm already here, I roam around the dining hall to check things off my punch list, if you will. But when it's time to move on, I hesitate. Mr. Wright said he would be somewhere around here on the ground floor, and I really didn't want to be alone with whiskey. I have to look through the place eventually, sure, but on the other hand, I can do it later when he's gone. I can go upstairs first if I want to. I'm going upstairs. I really don't want to mess with Luke. Check the first floor. I've already seen enough of this floor during their open house. Of course, I know that it's just a convenient excuse. I just don't want to be in the same room as Whiskey anytime soon. So I might as well just go upstairs first. The banisters on the grand staircase landing are solid and a proper height. Any lower and they would be trouble. There's a small catch in the carpet though. But as long as nobody tries to run down the stairs until it gets fixed, things should be alright. Like Isabella. And the stained glass? Alright. Restored, no doubt, in the image of the last lady and Lord of Ermengarde. Or it was supposed to be until Lady Charlotte's fiancé was brutally murdered. By a witch. A witch of all things, from what I've heard. You'd think the historians of this place will be a lot more scrutinistic filtering out stuff like that. Filtering. I can't read today, what's up? I'm amazed they bothered with it, instead of replacing it with some generic cookie cutter design. This entire piece alone would have cost roughly 500, even £1,000,000. Lady Charlotte Ermengarde and her beloved. Looking at the mosaic, it's not too far a stretch of the imagination to believe that the depicted images could be Mr. and Mrs. Wright. That is what I thought the first time I went in here. I really thought that Hannah and Luke were somehow the reincarnation of both of them, and also Isabella mentioned that she maybe saw them again somewhere, but I still think there's something up with that. It can be easily assumed as such, if one doesn't know the history of the mansion. Really, a place like this should be protected by the government as a landmark. But what can I do about it? Walking into the East Wing, I tried to go into the theater, but is met with an obstacle. Oh my god, first there's a door open, and second, we have been here the last time with Isabella when she went to the attic. The obstacle, that is, locked doors. 2 doors, 2. And both of them are locked. It'd be frustrated. Would be if I already hadn't snuck off while the Wrights were having their little business meeting with Miss Cooper before to take a peek. With what Mr. Wright wanted, we'd have to install a powerful projector, the type they use in cinemas, and a projector screen. The seats would have to be reupholstered if they're to be any comfortable, and the walls will have to be covered in dark material, paint, wallpaper, or install wall-to-wall carpeting. Really, of all the rooms I could be jealous of, it's this one. I could just picture myself in there, watching old kung fu flicks on a weekend-long marathon. Makes me wonder what kind of movies Mrs. Wright would like. Rom-coms, perhaps? Her husband, on the other hand, I'd rather not think about it. In the middle of my notation and planning, I don't even realize that I'm not alone, until I'm caught standing in front of a locked door like a fool.
Were you meaning to go in there? I'm afraid we won't be able to open it up today.
Oh well, I wanted to, but it's fine. I can still survey the rest of the place.
Apologies, but the key was missing when they were handed over. They told us that they'd get right back to us with it.
What? But aren't they supposed to hand over all the keys once property changes hands? That can be grounds to file a complaint.
They were already kind enough to let us move in so early. There's no need to raise a fuss about it. Worst comes to worst, we can call for a locksmith.
The air is heavy and somber when she grows quiet and glances out the window. Out towards the vast expanse that surrounded what would be their house. Their home. Then she looks back at me with a sigh and a bitter smile.
Flowers. Yellow flowers. Daffodils, dandelions, and sunflowers and the sort all up front. Just a whole garden of them. They'll make the house look lovely, won't they?
Of course. A garden is a wonderful addition to any home.
True, I love flowers. As I said this, her eyes roam over me, scrutinizing and thoughtful. I have to hold back the shiver that threatens to run down my spine at being inspected so closely.
Yes, it must be nice.
We're still talking about the gardens, yes?
I mean not having to worry about what another person thinks of you.
What do you mean by that?
She lifts her hand and points to her wedding ring before it falls listlessly to her side.
Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I didn't marry Luke.
No.
There'll be no fights about walk-in closets or silly helipads. I could do with this place as my heart desires until there's nothing but content. Then again, I wouldn't have bought this place if it wasn't a gift for him. I probably wouldn't even be in Luxbourne if it wasn't for him. Maybe I would have moved to London, Manchester, or Birmingham. I might have even left the country altogether. France, Germany, Spain, Canada, Sweden, even America. The possibilities would have been endless.
I don't know what to say to that. What is there to say?
I'm sorry, I must sound so petty and ungrateful. I do love him. So very much, even if he can be a bit difficult at times.
Oh no, not at all. I'm just confused why you're telling me this, of all people.
Just a whim, I think. Just flights of fancy, that's all.
No.
Don't you ever think about one decision you've made in your life and wonder how much would change if you chose to do things differently?
I try not to dwell on the past, ma'am.
The key word is try, of course. Thinking of the past brings up too many ghosts. Memories of her. And I do wonder what would change if I just said yes when she asked for me. Maybe she'd still be with me. I return to the present, just like I said, I try not to dwell on the past. Why did you decide on your own? You must have been quite the pair.
You must have been quite the pair, Mrs. Wright.
Well, yeah. It was the right decision I wanted, but I was afraid that I took the wrong one. Whew.
Hannah
Lucky.
Evans and Luke Wright taking Luxbourne by storm. At least, that's what I've heard.
That gets a jiggle out of her. And can I be blamed if I like the way her eyes crinkle or how she sounded when she laughed?
Quite the celebrity couple, according to all the newspapers. But it wasn't always that way. Father certainly didn't approve of him at first. Why, he told me to stay away from him. Told me that I was too good for him. That's the usual overprotective dad speak, though. But of course you know that.
I don't. I was too busy keeping my grades up at boarding school to maintain my scholarship. Never mind the fact that I went to an all-girls boarding school, so father never had any reason to fuss over boys trying to date his little girl.
And what did you tell him? Considering you are Mrs. Wright now, you or the mister must have convinced him otherwise.
Yes, well, I told him I was my own woman and I could decide who was deserving of me or not on my own. Thank you very much. That never stopped him from making sure Luke couldn't get anywhere near me without an escort and a guard anyway. Though he certainly wasn't that overprotective when I was dating Jack.
Maybe your father considered this Jack a more capable man?
I doubt it. Jacqueline was nowhere close to being any sort of a role model when we were in college.
Oh.
She was rebellious, reckless, and immature.
Oh my god.
Everything I wasn't. But she was quite the charming, stunning woman, and I think that made her quite likable.
That takes me by surprise a lot more than by the fact that Mr. Wright's father-in-law didn't like him. That much was to be expected. But this? I have nothing against them because that's their thing, though the nuns and the priests would say otherwise. Although, wasn't she worried about the implications, the rumors that would have arisen about her dating another of the same sex? Especially with some of her social status.
You look surprised, Marianne. The first thing anybody needs to know about me is that I go after what I want. And when it comes to who I love, it doesn't matter to me whether they're a man or a woman.
It's a nice enough sentiment. Still, the thought that this lovely lady before me had once been with another woman? I can feel my cheeks heat up a bit in a panic, thinking they might be red enough for Mrs. Wright to notice. I can't tell, though a coy smile graces her lips.
Legs, we called her, because of how often she was running about because of one thing or another. Climbing up walls and... what do they call it now? Parkour.
Yeah.
And also because of her, well, legs.
She had legs? Oh my god.
And you went after her?
Not right away.
Jeez,
when I
what's up
first met
with
her, I
mouse?
wanted nothing to do with her. She was so improper and uncouth. But I slowly realized that didn't mean she was a bad person. On the contrary, she did many a good thing and was always so nice to others.
Oh.
I found myself confused. I couldn't figure out if I wanted to be her or wanted to be with her. So I approached her, told her that I might have fancied her.
And your father didn't mind?
He must have thought it was my form of rebellion. But
Aw.
he never watched out for Jack as much as he watched out for Luke. If I didn't love my father so much, if he hadn't raised me right, I think I might have told him to bugger off. He's never been more attentive of me than when I started bringing home dates.
I'm sure he loved you very much.
Oh yeah, he did. She laughs once more, a glow about her. I know, she says with a small smile.
I suppose I've taken too much of your time with my silly stories. You still have much to inspect?
I still have most of this floor, and I'll want a quick run-through of the ground floor again later.
I shan't keep you from your work any longer then. Just call me if you need anything.
I will.
I'd like to look around myself.
When she turns to leave, she glances back at me before disappearing into the foyer. I look out the window from where she was standing, and I move on, alone with nothing but my thoughts and her.
Finally, some peace and quiet. Thought the old biddy would never leave.
It's utter madness, these hearing things. I reckon it's the stress, though I don't know what exactly I'm stressed about. If meeting Mrs. Wright has really thrown me off for a loop, I'd be worried. If I'm developing some sort of psychosis or a disorder, well, I'd call a doctor. But hopefully it isn't that. Not right here, and not right now. I mean, it could just be that personal talking cricket, the conscience, so to speak. And I'm only noticing now, though if it is, it isn't very helpful. Pushing the dilemma of voices in my head aside, I go back to work. But I can barely make it a few steps before everything tilts and shifts. I don't really stumble, but it feels like I'm being thrown off my feet and the rest of the world just follows. Oh god. Though my feet stay firmly on the ground, and even if I stay mostly upright, I feel like I've been heaved and put off balance. What? I have to close my eyes, in the hopes of willing the sudden sense of vertigo. What's with my mouse? Okay, I think it's really time to switch it. Because I have a really good mouse with a lot of macro keys and everything, but sometimes the software is really going a loop. And I think it's right now really time to change it. I already have a new one thanks to my best friend, but I was lazy and didn't change this up until now. And I think it's time to do so after all the recording session. I knew it. Oh my god. I don't want to. Do I hear the dripping of blood? Good. Well, I don't feel any less sick because of the sight that greets me. Blood drips from the walls and the ceiling, pooling downwards and seeping into the curtains and the carpet. A wave of nausea, stronger than the last, hits me along with the overpowering stench of blood and gore. I want to bolt. The rational part of my head is telling me to flee. And I would have gladly done as it asked, if only I didn't hear her.
In here, Marianne. Come on, I have something to show you.
Oh no. I could have ignored it, would have ignored it, if I only heard it in my head. But I swear that this time, it's coming from one of the rooms. Much further into the study. And I feel compelled to pay attention. I can't just turn around and leave. Not when it's her. I don't even think as I follow the sound of her voice. Okay. Lorraine. Lovely Amanda Lorraine Laserifiona. She was my friend, the only one that I had at St. Samantha. I was a scholar, the charity case, in a school for privileged and prestigious young girls. They all looked down at me, if they cared to look at me or acknowledge my presence at all. All except her.
Oh, stop your crying. You know better than to listen to Maeve. Why I gotta teach that butterface a lesson?
Wait, no, lass! I don't want you getting into trouble with the sisters again!
Relax. It's not like I'm going to stomp her and her lackey's arses flat like last time.
Come on, let's just go back to our dorm room. I don't want to be on my Tobler while you go get yourself punished.
You'll be fine. Gip's there with you.
Lorraine was there when I needed her, through my highs and lows. Having her as a friend made being in a strange school, away from my father, all the more tolerable. She saw this poor helpless girl who was kept down and shunned by everyone else, and being the kind soul that she was, she rescued me. So brave, so beautiful. She was something else.
I'll eat all the chocolates stashed away in your closet if you go.
I can get more. Just don't go complaining to me if you get a tummy ache because of that.
Well, you don't want to get detention on a weekend, do you? It's a Friday. We can go to town and have some karaoke. And we can have a go at druids and demons again.
Oh.
You're not going to miss that just because of Maeve, are you?
Sometimes I question what I did to deserve a friend like her. In the darkest corner of my mind, where traitorous thoughts lurked, I thought that she only felt sorry for me. Maybe she was just being a good Samaritan, offering a helping hand. And perhaps I had been too selfish to return the favor.
You have a point. I'll just kick her arse on Monday then.
That's not what I mean!
I know what you mean, Em.
Wait, where are you going?
I still have something to do. Don't worry. It's not like I'm going to burn down her dorm room or something criminal like that. I'm just going to talk to her. Maybe I'll make it so that her room smells like a dog's air biscuit. That'll make it an excellent weekend. I'll see you in a bit, Marianne.
Because when she told me that she loved me, I couldn't admit that I felt the same way. Not to her, and not even to myself. It was wrong. I was taught that way. Husband and wife, one man and woman. Unclean, impure. I prayed for her and I for her sins and for salvation. I want to apologize for disregarding her feelings so callously. It must have been like a slap to her face for her. But life had gotten in the way. Exams, which were trivial in hindsight now, took top priority. I had to keep my grades up to keep my scholarship. For my father. I told myself I would apologize to her when those were over, that I needed to focus first and not let anything distract me. It had been easy when she avoided me like the plague. She was upset, I get that. I don't wanna. I thought I had the time to make things right, but...
At 7 in the morning, students found a 5th year dead.
Oh no.
Assumed to have fallen from her dormitory window.
They told us that it was an accident. That was the official statement. But I knew better. She was dead because of me.
Maeve had a hoot and I kicked the bucket, didn't she? Ding dong, the witch is dead!
She had, though she didn't say which, Lorraine.
But at least Maeve had the courage to admit how she felt about me.
I don't even know how long I've been stuck here in a trance. In the mirror, Lorraine smiles at me. Not for long, I'm sure about that. She's as beautiful as I remember her. But then, knew it. Knew it. I feel bile rise up in my throat as her clean image warps into how she looked like when they had found her dead, lying on the cold hard ground. Good Saint Dymphna, great wonder worker in every affliction of mind and body, help me. I'm seeing things, hearing things. I'm going completely insane. Looking everywhere but at her. I hope and pray that it's enough to will whatever this is to go away. It doesn't even immediately register in my head that I can just leave.
You, on the other hand, can't even look me in the eye.
Oh God.
This isn't real. You're not. You're dead.
I'm dead. Because of you. And you won't even look at me. Look at me.
My breathing quickens, and I can feel my heart being torn apart by her words.
I'm so sorry, Lorraine.
Look at me!
I can't take it because she's right. It was my fault. The least I can do is look at what I've done. Lorraine, broken and bleeding, looks at me with such hate-filled eyes. An unnatural smile stretches across her face and I can only see malice in it. Then she lunges as the mirror ripples around her form, the glass pardoning like the water surface for her. She grips my shoulders and I can feel her nails dig deep, sharp even through the fabric of my clothes.
There you are.
I'm going to fuck up! It's just a game over! Oh my god. Hi.
You're coming with me.
Oh, you come on! That's hard. I'm tapping the glare crazy.
You love me.
Biatch. Serves you right. Apology spills through my lips as tears cloud my vision. But I won't give in to this madness. With every bit of strength I have left, I struggle to get away from her. Clear grips and threatens to choke me. I endure. I escape. And without turning back, I stumble back out. Pew. Thank goodness. But guys, that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like, subscribe to my channel. If you're already subscribed, click on the notification bell down below so you get notified when I upload my videos. Share us on all your social media, and God will see you in the future or back in the ladder. Bye bye. Am I allowed to die in real life now?